CL650 presents your source for leading-edge news and information on today's hottest products and services. This is Experts on Call.
Welcome to StrataLife on CL650's Expert on Call. I'm George Gordon. With me today, Key Pacific Property Management, the man himself, Dan Ahern, the president. And also with us today is Gordon Lee of CMW Insurance. Now, when it comes to Strata, it is a booming part of our life here in the Lower Mainland, and every day it presents new opportunities and some issues. So let's talk a little bit about that, because everybody who's in a strata, whether you're an owner, whether you're a property manager, big things at stake here. These are homes, and there's a lot of responsibilities and a lot of things that you have to think about. So let's start with Dan Ahern from Key Pacific Property Management. You've been serving the metro area since 1998. Tell me more about the company.
Oh, sure. I'd love to, George. Well, Key Pacific is what we'd call a boutique company. We've got about 22 staff, and we're located in downtown New Westminster. So it's a great central location for all our clients. We manage properties right from downtown Vancouver to Maple Ridge, and the North Shore to South Surrey, and White Rock area. We focus on strata corporations. We manage commercial properties, residential properties, whether they're the strata corporations are sections or types. So we manage both of those. We also do rental management, apartment buildings or single-family homes or condominiums as well. And we're also fully licensed realtors. So we're a small firm, but we can really do it all. So, and we're particularly focused on quality rather than quantity. Our managers have some of the lowest unit-to-manager ratios in the industry, so that gives them a little bit more time to develop, a depth of understanding of the building or particular situations. And then to help that out, we got two distinct service packages. We got full service management and as well as specific functions, consulting functions or accounting functions. So we can find the right fit for each strata corporation.
Very important, because every building, every strata has a different story to tell,
Sure
different situations for sure.
Yep.
And usually, at some point, something is going to happen that you will require to talk to the person who insures your building, or your particular unit. And one of the busiest people that we know is Gordon Lee of CMW Insurance. Tell us about your company.
CMW is one of the larger, probably locally, independently owned brokerages in BC. We're employee owned. What really that means is that we all really care about you. We specialize in the real estate, and strata is one of the areas where we specialize in, and one of the largest providers of strata insurance in the Lower Mainland, and growing actually outside into the interior and a little bit beyond that.
You have a number of associates. Is that what you, when you all own the same company, is that what you call each other, or is it your turn?
We all, I would say probably half the employees, the key employees, have some ownership of the company. And that's really nice.
Well, I am sure that on December 29th, maybe more so the next day, but on December 29th at 11:40 at night, everybody in the Lower Mainland and on the island was quite aware of something that either woke them from their sleep or perhaps caught them when they were out driving, walking. And that was that 4.9 earthquake that took place just off the coast of Victoria. What were your thoughts at the time? I mean, I was sitting in bed reading, and I thought, who just came through the front door? It was that kind of a bang. Dan, what did you think?
Well, I was driving home with some of the family, and just as it happened, apparently I was pulling into the driveway. So my son, who was at home, felt the house shake, and he kind of looked out, and then he saw the car pulling up, and he thought, well, maybe there's something wrong with the garage door. And then just as we get in there, it's all the social media starts lighting up, right? And so it's okay. It was an earthquake. It was an earthquake. But yeah, in the car you don't have any sense. Right. And then in the house there was real puzzlement what went on.
Well, now Gordon, I suspect being in the insurance game and you hear a bang and you're thinking, what was that? Are my clients going to start calling me? What happened? What's this going to cost us? What happened when you
My thought
felt
wasn't
it?
even about that. I was sound asleep. So when this happened, I woke up. Am I dreaming? And I look next to me. My wife is up, and we're all startled. I go like, "What's just happened?" And we know because like generally it's really quiet, and like there's some rattling, and we're in on the second story of the home, so some rattling, and went out. You know, I thought, okay, was there a car accident nearby? A car ran in, but we're in a very quiet street, so like we're just running around looking to see, is someone banging on the door really loud that woke us up, and it wasn't. And we realized it's an earthquake. You go on the social media, you see this is an earthquake that occurred, and it startles you because we haven't really experienced any type of shake. And this wasn't just a little bit of rattling, which I remember on the previous quake we had, which is about 15, 16 years ago probably.
Yeah.
This was like a bang. It was abrupt, it was bang and vibrations.
And inside the channel, too, so it was a lot of the quakes, I understand, are normally on the west side of the island, so you sort of hear about it, you might feel the tremor, but that was a bang, indeed. Well, it brings to an excellent point, because we tend to say, oh, well, everybody's okay, there's a little bit of rattling, but what if it would have been a bigger quake? What if it would have been closer to the surface? What if things had gotten broken? And so you have to think about, what am I covered for in insurance? And what is the, for the property managers, what do they have to start thinking about in terms of, how's their coverage on the building? What might be affected if something went snap? So perhaps, Dan, we would start with you as a property manager. Do you do a quick assessment? What happens when you, after you're done hearing about it in the coffee shop and people all around you, wow, what do you do?
Call Gordon. I think the biggest confusion, this is something we should probably, address. Like one of the biggest confusions is earth, if we're talking about earthquake and the deductible that's around and what sort of coverage, and it's more likely partial damage than full onslaught. I mean, this, maybe you want to talk about that. I mean, the deductibles and.
Yeah, the deductible itself, let's talk about that. I think that's a great topic. Sometimes, people would ask me, what experience do you have with earthquake coverage and claims? And I've had an earthquake claim, actually, living in BC. And this goes back about 20 years ago. And it was after one of these shakes, someone would call and say, look, I got a claim. And I 20 years ago, I was much younger and, earlier stage of career. I go, really, you got an earthquake claim? What happened to your home? Like, did it collapse? No. There was a crack on the side of the home. And I said, you sure that's from the earthquake? He goes, yes, and I like to make a claim. So we take a look at the policy, and we said, well, you know what? This is our homeowner at that time, of course. And, I think the home was insured for about, $300-something odd thousand. At a 10% earthquake deductible, you're looking at $30,000. So I said, you know what? I said, there is a deductible on your policy that's 10%, and so therefore it's working out to be about $30,000. And my client says, no, Gord, it says 10% deductible. I think the repair should be about $10,000, so I expect that you guys are going to be looking after like $9,000 over that. No, I said, that's not a deductible. You're really thinking about maybe your extended health, which they call a co-insurance. And from then on, what you find is that even today, I would say probably close to half the people in the population that are not insurance, that don't specialize in insurance, don't know much about insurance, when you tell them it's a 10% deductible, most will respond as, okay, well, 10%. And they're thinking that the insurance companies is going to pay 10% of the damage, and the insurer, it's going to pay 10% of it. So, if they think, well, it's a $10,000 damage, we'll put the $1,000 up and the insurance is going to pay the $9,000. And I keep explaining to people, which we have to really clarify, is that that's not. It's 10% deductible of the sum insured. So in a strata building that's insured for $10 million, the strata corporation with a 10% deductible must come up with $1 million first, or they are looking after the first $1 million worth of damage.
We're talking to Dan Ahern from Key Pacific Property Management and Gordon Lee of CMW Insurance on strata.com. And we're talking today about the big emergency and what you can do to be prepared for it. Gentlemen, the stratas that are worried about damages that might result from a leak or a similar problem in another unit, can owners or tenants be required to have an owner or tenant insurance policy? Gordon, we'll start with you on that one.
From my understanding, Dan, probably under the Strat Act, you can't really enforce them. I think from the broker point of view, seeing what happens in losses and claims, whether it's direct damage to the individual's unit, their content, and or involving other unit, we always feel, yes, definitely that the unit owners and tenants should have insurance, and it would reduce the amount of complication of who's responsible for what, and also reduces the headaches that the uninsured people face. Is like, where do I live? How do I get my contents removed? Or how do I get them replaced? That also goes into, we get into unit improvements where people have put in upgrades, which also is not covered a lot of times, and they find out the hard way.
Yeah, I don't think you can compel someone to have insurance. Maybe under like a commercial lease you can require that, but under residential tenancy agreements, it's not required. A strata lot owner isn't required to have insurance. Their bank may require them to have insurance, but if they've paid cash for it, they won't. They're not required to, and it's frightening. We've talked about this so many times, how few people, at best, I think maybe 30% of homeowners out there have policies. And for the cost of an insurance policy, I've seen them as little as $200, $250, $500. You're going to have adequate coverage that's going to, especially if you're an investor and you can't rent the property out for say 6 months. You can have a policy that's going to cover some of those loss of incomes, right?
Yeah, and we in fact, a lot of claims arise out of where the unit's damaged, rented out, and the tenant is just claiming, I'm not paying that 5 months of rent, and they go to an RTO, and it gets approved, and where they have insurance, the insurance do provide coverage for that, the loss of that rental. So very important for even investors.
You are listening to StrataLife on CIL 650's Experts on Call. We'll be back in a moment with Dan O'Hearn from Key Pacific Property Management and Gordon Lee of CMW Insurance here on CIL 650.
Everything you need to know about products and services that can improve your life. This is Experts on Call on CIL 650.